Jhieliannd is the explorer! I'm Jhieliannd. We're going on an adventure to the social world. Can you help me find the four wonders of quantitative research? I can't hear you.
Hi, Jhieliannd.
This is my friend Backpack.
Backpack.
And Backpack can carry a lot of things. And there's a map in Backpack. Map!
If you've got a place to go, I can get you there. Just call out my name and the map.
I need your help. Can you help me search for the quickest way to find four wonders?
Jhieliannd has to find the quickest way in order to find the four wonders of quantitative research. Well, I know the quickest way in order to find the four wonders. First, we have to cross the bridge between quantitative and qualitative research.
Can you help me cross the bridge?
Greetings everyone! The discussion for today's meeting is of great importance, given that it would be all about the very difference between two concepts that might be confusing for some, quantitative and qualitative research. Collecting and analyzing data may involve two ways of practice, and those are the stated ones. To put it simply, quantitative research deals with numbers and statistics. Qualitative research, on the other hand, deals with words and meanings. To further understand this explanation, I, as your elocutionist, would present to you some key points. Qualitative research. This type of research is expressed in words. It is used to understand concepts, thoughts, or experiences. An individual who seeks to perform this would be enabled to gather an in-depth insight on topics that are not well understood. Common qualitative methods include interviews with open-ended questions, observations described in words, and literature reviews that explore concepts and theories. Quantitative research. This type of research is expressed in numbers and graphs. It is used to test or confirm theories and assumptions. An individual who seeks to perform this would be enabled to establish generalizable facts about a topic. Common quantitative methods include experiments, observations recorded as numbers, and surveys with close-ended questions.
Now that I've crossed the bridge, I can attain the first wonder. Map! What is our next destination?
And the map. Jhieliannd needs to find the second wonder of quantitative research. The second step in order to find the second wonder is to go to the library and dig for chapters 1 and 2 of quantitative research. I'm Hannah Biran, and I will be presenting to you chapters 1 to 2. Let's start. Chapter 1. The problem and its background. On today's will be the introduction, background of the study, theoretical and conceptual framework, research paradigm, statement of the problem, and hypothesis. This chapter deals with the root of the problem being studied, the appropriate context of the problem in relation to the theory, its scope, and to which extent does the previous studies investigated the problem. In the introduction, the definition of the topic idea and its urgency, explanation of the aim of the research, the thesis statement, and a grabber must be presented. Background of the study. This includes the reviews of the existing literature on the area of your research, the identification of the gaps in understanding, and the contribution that other researchers have in the study. The theoretical framework must include theories that will strengthen and prove your study, but the conceptual framework must be based on your own concept. This tackles what you expect to find through your research. It is best to use a theoretical framework if there are existing theories that can be utilized. However, if there are none, a conceptual framework can be used in this situation. The statement of the problem, or the SOP, is a claim that addresses the definition of the issue needed to be discussed. It also identifies the gap between the current state and the desired state of the process. It deals with the question, what is the problem that the research will tackle? Hypothesis in research deals with a testable proposition or predictive statement that concerns the possible outcome of the study. There are two hypotheses, null and alternative. When the null hypothesis is accepted, there is no difference between certain characteristics of a population. The opposite holds true when the alternative hypothesis is accepted. When writing the significance of the study, the researcher must indicate what makes the research important and how it contributes to the society. Only write a definition of terms when the term included in the study cannot be understood by a layman if the certain word holds a different meaning for the research. Chapter 2. Review of related literatures. This chapter includes foreign and local literature, foreign and local study, and relevance to the study. Foreign literatures are about foreign news, information websites, and articles that gives your study great relevance, while local literatures are the same as foreign literatures but are local instead of foreign. Foreign studies are foreign investigations that are already completed to which the study is related. On the other hand, local studies are completed investigations done locally. Foreign and local studies could be manuscripts, theses, and dissertations. The relevance to the present study justifies the differences that occurs between the past and recent studies. It also entails the weaknesses that can be found in the studies. The RRLs should be synthesized in this as well.
Now that I've covered chapter 1 and 2, we're going to find the third wonder. Map!
And the map. Jhieliannd has to enter through the maze in search for the third wonder. Can you help her find chapter 3/?
The chapter 3 or the methodology of a research paper includes the research design, the population, sample, and the sampling technique, the research instrument, the data gathering procedure, and the statistical treatment of data. And we will cover it one by one. The research design section discusses what type of design you are running for your paper. The research design of a paper can be an experimental, quasi-experimental, or descriptive. There are many research designs that are applicable for all types of research, so choose the best one for you that suits the purpose of the paper. The population, sample, and sampling technique is composed of where will your research take place, what is your population, what are the characteristics of your samples, and how many participants are you going to take. It also includes the sampling techniques that you are going to use, whether it is non-probability or probability sampling. The research instrument is the instrument that you are going to use to gather your data. Usually, a quantitative research uses a questionnaire, but you could also use interviews. In this section, you need to describe the instrument and why it is the best instrument to use for your paper. The data gathering procedure is simply a step-by-step description on how you will gather the data from the finding of the respondents until the retrieving of the questionnaire. It follows a chronological order, hence you should not skip a step after another. Be specific as possible so that the readers can follow immediately on what you are referring to. Lastly, the statistical treatment of data is presented. It includes the statistical test and the treatment you will use and its formula. These statistical tests can be a descriptive statistics, a parametric test like a Pearson, p-test, ANOVA, and the non-parametric tests such as Wilcoxon, chi-squared, and Spearman. All of these tests will be determined by identifying your data type, your sample, and what is your purpose. Remember that when you are writing the methodology for a proposal, use a future tense verbs, and when writing for the final paper, use past tense verbs.
Where is chapter 3? Can you help me find chapter 3? Oh, here it is! Chapter 3. Now that I have attained chapter 3, can you help me search for chapters 4 and 5? Map!
And the map. After finding your way through the maze, you must enter the door of chapters 4 and 5 to search for the treasure chest.
I am Jhieliannd. Let us next find out what Chapter 4 and 5 conceals. The purpose of Chapter 4 is to summarize the collected data and the statistical treatment or mechanics of analysis. The first paragraph, or the introduction, should briefly state the statement of the problem, taken from Chapter 1. Explain the object of each experiment, question or objective, mention important results, and present the results by table, figure, or any other type of summarized data. The tables and figures should be chosen carefully. In a quantitative research, the results usually begin with a description of the sample for the research as sample size, demographics of the chosen samples, and such like. Also, the descriptive statistics should be included. These should be presented, and these are the frequencies or percentages for categorical variables, means, standard deviations, and such like. Normality of continuously measured variables is usually presented. Address each hypothesis in turn, presenting a description of the analysis that was completed to address each hypothesis and the results of that analysis, states whether the null hypothesis was rejected. Make statements of the results without any implication, speculation, assessment, evaluation, or interpretation. Sometimes the results and discussions are combined into one chapter, but in general, keep the results, conclusions, and discussions separate. Now in Chapter 5, it is where the results are explained or discussed. First, in the methods and procedures, the approach must be summarized. Then, the major findings must be discussed, but first, the Chapter 4 should be summarized. Then on the discussion, refer to the hypothesis, objectives, or questions. Assess the meaning of the results by evaluating and interpreting. Speculation should be reasonable, firmly justified, and subject to test. Then the conclusions relate directly to the research questions or objectives. They represent the contribution to the knowledge. These are the major generalizations, the answer to the problems. Then the recommendations. These can take two forms, recommendations for further study or recommendations for change, or both. Each recommendation should trace directly to a conclusion. Then the researcher should include the references. This will follow the specific format of an individual study guide, such as APA, Chicago, or other. Then lastly will be the appendices. In quantitative research, if the study involves an organization, a letter of permission to conduct the study is required from the appropriate administrator at the organization.